It's midnight somewhere, and you know what that means. It's time to take a journey. The Idiotically Spooky Place proudly presents The Sky Blinked. Chapter 7, Attack. Maribel was the first to run off. The closest thing this community has to an alarm system is a giant bell in the center. She's moving so fast she might as well be flying. I need to get to the weapons vault, Eric says. I need you two to get to safety. Now. He takes off, trusting us to take care of ourselves. Do you know why they're attacking? Takira asks me. No, I don't get it at all. Everything's just been so off lately. The attack at the house, the woman attacking us in the tunnels, now this? It's like ever since... I look at her. Jefferson could sense them coming. Takira's confused, but then the bulb flickers on. Jefferson? Have you been trying to hide yourself in any way? I ask.
I've yet to utter a single word to these people.
I'm not talking about from the people. I'm talking about from everything else.
Now, how would I do that?
Fuck! I usually don't do that, but this is too much. They can sense you, Jefferson. Your brother made them. They're probably a part of him or something. Oh my God. Can't you sense your brother?
Yes, but...
And you never thought the opposite could be true. That everything he's changed could sense you? You go on and on about how you're so above everything. But with this one oversight, you've doomed this entire village and who knows what else. Jefferson looks at me.
I won't allow them to get hurt.
My mind had been racing, thinking of every possible terrible way things could end. But when he looks at me, that all goes silent. I don't think he's doing anything to me, but I wouldn't be able to tell. This is one promise you better keep, I say. One of the bikers cry out, and they begin to move. Some come straight for the wall, while others split off to either side.
They're circling. We need to get to the center.
We take off running. Jefferson is fast. Although he seems to have never had a body of his own, he sure knows how to utilize the one he occupies. The bell begins ringing out, and people begin panicking, scattering around to find any semblance of safety. Jefferson stops as close to the center as possible, but I continue on to the residential area. Inside, there are people pressed low against the wall. Some hold random objects now converted into weapons. A hammer, the arm of a chair, anything. I quickly move through, making sure not to step on anyone. My sword is right where I left it under the bed provided to me. I swipe it. I see movement out of the corner of my eye and look up. There's a window, but there doesn't seem to be anything outside. The window behind me shatters and the room is suddenly filled with screams. A biker had jumped through, lunging for one of the people taking refuge in here. I pull the scabbard off my sword, launching it at the biker in one smooth motion. It swings its head around to me, turning from the person it's on top of. I get a strong grip on the handle and try to look confident. It lunges at me. There are still people trying to run out of here, so I hesitate to swing, instead opting to stab forward. I get it in its shoulder, but it recovers in no time, swinging out at me with its claws. It's hard, but I keep up with the swings, blocking each with the blade. It moves on to a new strategy. Brute strength. I hardly even register what's happening before I'm falling out of a window, the biker wrapped around my waist. My sword falls out of my hand, skidding somewhere. We hit the ground and roll a little bit. I get a quick look around me and can't see anything I can use. A short growl is my only warning, and I roll hard to the side out of instinct. The claws just miss me. I kick out and get a good hit in his face, but it isn't enough. It jumps and I'm pinned down. It looks down at me as I squirm, triumph plastered across his face. A gunshot rings out and it drops to the side, still. Maribel's hand is stretched out to me. I take the offer, getting to my feet. "How the hell did you know this was going to happen?" she asks me. "They usually don't come within miles of this place, much less a coordinated attack." This is just about the worst time to ask me a question. I decide to take the blunt route and hope that things work out. Not me, Jefferson. Who's Jefferson? I kind of just ignore her question. Instead, I find my sword, picking it up before taking a moment to absorb everything. Everywhere people were screaming, fighting, and running for cover as the bikers rampage. I spot Eric, herding some people away as best he can while shooting down anything that gets too close to them. Then the bikers all come to a stop. They're not frozen. Their heads still twitch back and forth. There's a chitter coming from them. They look between each other, their eyes darting from one another. Some people flinch when an eye would land on them, but the bikers never lunge or anything. A higher-pitched cry rings out, and it becomes clear they've found what they were sensing. They all turn their focus upwards. When the horrified gasps and stifled yelps come, I know what they're all looking at. I turn to find Jefferson in the sky, looking down over everyone. "Is that Takira?" Maribel asks. Lightning strikes on the mountain's plateau behind Jefferson. He drops down, choosing a target. The bikers lunge. They all enter a dance of claws and fists and blood. Jefferson isn't even attempting to spare any of them, and I can't say I particularly blame him. I only catch glimpses of him here and there. He grabs an arm, rips it off, and shoves the claws into the throat of another. When I catch sight of him again, he's slamming two heads together and, well, imagine smashing two eggs together. Then he's by the fire, grabbing a log straight from the flames. The attacking crowd jumps back from the flames, but don't retreat. He flings the log, and it goes straight through one of the creatures. Sparks had gone flying everywhere, and they begin finding fuel to grow. As far as I can tell, Jefferson doesn't even notice. A new fire erupts, and before long, a building is catching fire. I sprint off without hesitation. I run through the flames sprouting on the porch and push through the front door. There are some panicked cries, but there's relief when they see a human. One who isn't floating and covered in blood. Fire! It's a little primitive, but the message is communicated. People begin evacuating, whether through a back door or window. Help! A child. I run through, looking for the source. In a room near the back, a child is crouched down next to a corner, crying. "Hey, buddy, what's wrong?" I ask. She just points at the corner. In that corner is the log Jefferson had thrown. There's a hole leading right outside you could look through. The fight's still raging on. It takes me a moment to notice, but there's someone under the log. Maribel comes in behind me and assesses the situation. "Lift the log, and I'll get them out." I follow the instructions and begin tugging on the log. It's slick. My hands struggle to find traction. I begin feeling hotter, and the child's cries grow louder. We don't have much time. I feel around for a moment. I almost cry out in relief when I find grooves on each side to slip my finger into. I pull with all my might. With a creak, the log begins moving. "Got her!" Maribel shouts. I let go and almost stumble back. Maribel hoists the woman over her shoulder. The fire has reached the room, and if we don't leave now, I'm sure the fire would block the back door, our only exit. I scoop up the child, and we both run out, stumbling off the back porch and into the comparatively cold air. Maribel is making her way over to a group of people who already look as if they're trying to tend to anyone wounded, while all the bikers are preoccupied. I shut the child down, letting her run off after her mother. I make my way around the perimeter of the burning building, back to where Jefferson is. The grand fire the villagers had built seems to have been completely knocked over by now. Wait. No. It's moving? Oh. It's Jefferson. Because of course you can. I can't tell if he's controlling the fire, is on fire, or has become the fire. The distinction doesn't matter though, because regardless, he's absolutely handling business. Any biker that makes the mistake of getting too close becomes nothing more than a pile of ash. The bikers finally begin realizing their futile attempt and slowly back away, chittering amongst themselves once more. One turns his eyes on me. Oh, great. I barely have time to get my sword out before it's on me. I move and swing out, rewarded with a yelp. All of them, all throughout the area, seem to choose a target and attack. They may be smarter than I thought. There's a crackling and the hairs on my arm rise up. I instinctively put as much space in between myself and the biker attacking me as possible. Jefferson becomes a little more than a flash of light, zigzagging across the yard at an impossible speed, obliterating every creature he locks onto. With a crack, he's in front of me, his hand reaching through my assailant's back and out through his chest. Its heart rests in Jefferson's hand. That is, until he crushes it. The creature drops to reveal him standing there, soaked in blood and things I probably don't want to think about.
They're not stopping, but I don't think they're even concerned about all of you.
How are you going to lead them away?
By being irresistible, of course.
With no other words, he floats up, as if leaning back into a gust of wind that takes him away. His hands begin buzzing with electricity, lighting up the night sky. Every remaining biker takes the bait. They begin to stampede, clawing and knocking each other over as they desperately try to reach that light. Eric. I spot him running against the flow of bikers. There's a kid running, terrified. They're headed towards the lake. There shouldn't be any danger, but I elect to follow regardless. I have to narrowly avoid getting trampled, but I'm not directly attacked by any of the bikers as I cross their stream. Once through and out past buildings, it almost becomes quiet. Eric has finally caught up with the child, comforting him. Eric? Are you okay? He spots me. His arm crosses over the child and he moves him back a little. It feels as if my heart drops into a chasm and I stop walking. Eric? What is that thing? Eric asks. He's taken a tone with me, one I've yet to hear. He's scared. Of me? Maybe not directly, but still. Eric. No, I want a straight answer. What is that thing? They won't hurt you, I say. Takira is human. He begins shaking his head. But there's something not human inside of her. What's inside of her? That's not a simple answer. He's kind of... The term I want to use seems blasphemous, but honestly, it's the only one that works. Are you saying that's a god? I'm saying that what's inside her is infinite. He's lived long before us and will continue to live long after everything we understand to be reality is reduced to nothing. I can't even begin to list all the emotions that go through his face. Were you forced to bring her, it here? No, I did that of my own accord. Eric, Takira isn't some husks being used by Jefferson. That's his name. She's a real, living human who has real human desires and emotions. And honestly, it seems as if she's been influencing Jefferson to be more like her. I know this is hard to understand. It was hard for me too, but you've got to understand that they aren't a threat. In fact, Jefferson came here for his brother. Brother? Eric asked. I don't know if that was a mistake or not. Regardless, I kind of just motioned to the sky. Jeremiah, you invited the sibling of the thing that ruined all of our lives into our village? I invited someone who was lost, and someone who very well has the power to end all of this into the village. Reality is just a toy to these beings, Eric. That thing in the sky can't even fully comprehend what it's doing to us. Did you think about the spider's feelings when you tore down his web to clean your house? How about how the ants felt when you used pesticide to get rid of a mound? That's not the same, Eric chokes out. It is. You're just mad you're the insect. I can see him trying to keep it together, but I know he won't be able to. It starts with one tear, then it's a flood, and he's completely given up on trying to keep me at bay. I slowly make my way over to him. I rest a hand on his shoulder and crouch down to level with him. I'm just so tired of this, Jeremiah. I'm so tired of living in fear and fighting to stay alive, and I'm so sick and tired of things I don't even understand having so much control over me. I wrap my other arm around him, pulling him close. We just sit there for a moment. There's a light splash from the river. The kid's still standing next to us. He's confused, a little scared, probably a little bored, but he's nowhere near the water. There's something there, isn't there? Eric asks, letting his hand drop from around me. I'm going to need you to fight just a little longer for me, okay? I say. Eric leans back from me, holding a hand out to the child. I'm going to pick you up and get us out of here. Okay, Jordan? The kid nods, taking the hand. In one smooth motion, Eric picks Jordan up and takes off. I pull my sword out, ready to take on whatever bike rat swam in through the river. An ivory mass rises out of the water. The glowing dots that serve for eyes pointed right at me. No. He shouldn't be here. This shouldn't be... Were we being stalked this entire time? Did Jefferson's emergence act as a beacon for him? The eyes shift. They shift over to Eric and Jordan. No, I say. He looks back at me. No. He's out of the water faster than I thought possible. The water splashes over me, but what knocks me to the ground is a sickly hand hurtling into my chest. My whole body hurts. My chest from the hit, my back and shoulders from the impact, my legs from running, quite literally everything for one reason or another. But that doesn't matter. I climb to my feet and give chase. The creature is fast, and he's quickly closing the gap in between himself and Eric. I'll never be able to reach him in time to do anything. Eric will never be able to get anywhere safe in time. There's no time for anything. I think I only have one choice. I have to say it. How long has it been? How long have I been in denial? I take a deep breath and shout at the top of my lungs. Darren! He slides to a stop. He was so close that the slide flung dirt onto Eric. Far too close. Darren, please, just stop. That distorted face turns to look at me. If I'm being completely honest, I don't even recognize him anymore. Those aren't the warm eyes that would wander over me as we spoke and bring me such warmth. Everything about him is now merely a distorted excuse for everything he once was. The only reason I even know it's him is because some time ago, I decided to torture myself by watching his slow evolution over weeks. He takes a small step towards me, and I stand my ground. He moves closer and closer until he's right up to me, chittering softly. I'm almost certain you don't understand a single word coming out of my mouth. But surely we can't keep doing this. There has to be something else out there for you, right? We're both just holding on to something that can't possibly work for us. But I guess a part of you is still there in some way since you've been staying with me as much as I've been.
Me. Kill me.
The voice was soft. It was raspy and I hardly heard it, but it was his. And I heard his request clearly. Darren?
Hurts. Wrong. Kill me.
I know the question going through my head probably should be, how could he ask me to do such a thing? But the only question in my head right now is, what would be the best way to do so? Darren twitches, growling as he curls into himself. His eyes fling up to mine, filled with desperation. He's not even fully conscious, is he? I don't think I've spoken his name to him in a long time. I brought him back out for this fleeting moment, and now the sound of flesh tearing makes me look down. His chest opens, ripping apart and curling up into itself like a dried sponge. What's left vulnerable is a pulsing mass of red and a shiny black substance. His heart. I draw my sword. I rest the point of the blade on his heart. Our eyes meet. With one strong movement, I push. He doesn't make much of a sound, but he does grab hold of me. Honestly didn't know he could still touch things with such care. Then his grip loosens. His hands fall away from me, and his body slumps. It's silent. I want to cry, but I'm also relieved. I'm happy. I feel like I've just lost an important part of me. I just feel. Someone comes running up behind me. I'm finally conscious of my being on my knees. Darren still lays still in front of me, my sword on the ground next to him. Was that your... It's Eric. We used to live together, I say, absent-minded. Sorry, I sound like a textbook. He was my boyfriend. We couldn't let each other go. This probably isn't a very helpful question, but how are you feeling? Eric asks. I don't know, actually. A beat passes before I look around. Where's Jordan? He's fine. I left him with some of the villagers trying to get everything under control again. Silently, he leads me away from the lake. Away from Darren. The bikers are all gone, save for those that aren't alive anymore. As for the villagers, they're all doing different things. Some are picking up chairs and tables, some are doing their best to check on people and provide any medical assistance. There are also some just sitting or walking around aimlessly, waiting to be given something to do. Eric leans towards me and speaks low. Is this over? I tell him the truth. I don't know. I doubt Jefferson would ever bring them back, and they were following him, so I would hope so. Sure, but what about... Clouds rolled back across the sky from a point over the mountain. I can barely comprehend what's happening. It's like watching a time lapse blown up to impossible proportions. Then there he is. Our silent observer. He lets out a noise I can't even describe, and everything begins rumbling. The screams of villagers begin mixing with that terrible sound. Lightning begins striking the plateau faster and more frequent than I've ever seen before. From the tree line rises a glowing figure. As everyone watches, the thing in the sky begins doing something I've only seen once before. When Jefferson made his descent down to Earth, he had to fold into himself, just as his brother is doing now. What's going on? Eric asks. I just watch. The thing in the sky forces itself to become smaller, swirling and collapsing in impossible ways. It breaches the atmosphere, going up in flame immediately as it continues to shrink. The sky grows so bright, and yet I can't look away. A powerful wave of warm wind envelops everything, pushing past like a crowd running from something terrible. Hissing rises like a chorus into the air. I can't tell if it's from the constantly condensing meteor or something else entirely. Jefferson rises up to meet it. I can't see what he does exactly, but I doubt I would even be able to understand it regardless. What I can understand is that he helps his brother condense at a faster rate, while also slowing his descent. Then the world becomes dark again. Did it just... Are they staying? Erica asks. I don't know. I knew Jefferson wanted to find his brother, but I never exactly considered what happens now. I turned to him. Maybe they'll... I don't know if you've ever been on one of those dragster roller coasters that launches you at 120 miles per hour, but that is what this feels like, but probably much faster. Before I can even comprehend I even moved, I'm on the plateau, barely stumbling as I come to a stop.
I need you.
Oh my... I need a moment. I take a few deep breaths. Jefferson, of course, keeps talking anyway.
He needs to use your body.
Thanks for giving me the moment I asked for.
Without your body, he won't be able to understand the intricacies that go into making the human body. And he won't be able to feel emotion. It's something even we can't replicate. At least I don't think.
So you need me to let him in? What if he tries to stay? I don't think I want to be...
I won't let him stay. I just want to talk to him. Actually talk to him. We can understand each other in a way, but it's not the same.
I'm counting on you to keep your promise.
You have my word.
As I look around, I realize I never took the time to do so. We're in a small crater, the walls still glowing red and smoking in some spots. It's warm. The scent of ozone lingers in the air. In the center of it all is an attempt at a human. The wriggling mass of shiny black has some correct parts in wrong places, and many wrong parts. A simple description, and yet it's the best. It doesn't matter though, for its shape is always changing. morphing. I make my way over to it. Not knowing what to do, I decide to touch it. Against all logic, it's almost freezing cold. It feels like too many things all at once. My hand and arm begins tickling a little. I look down and find millions of little hands clawing up my arm and up towards my face. Trees brush up past me, and I land. I'm in the rose garden again. It's still silent and still quite small. The passageway is still there. I get up to my feet and press forward, not hesitating for a moment. The path is winding, but it's lined with the most beautiful flowers I've ever seen. Roses and so much more. The path finally ends, releasing into a statue garden. I walk up to the statue closest to me. It's my parents. I don't know where they are right now. They were on the other side of the country when everything went down. They look exactly as I remember them, except if they were sculpted out of colored marble. They hold each other and stand tall. I continue through the garden, following past without much thought. I pass statues of friends and family members. My favorite teachers are here, the ones who pushed me to be the best version of myself and helped me decide what I wanted to strive to be. I find myself following a stream. Before I know it, I'm in a smaller circle of statues. One look at them and I cringe. I know exactly what's going on here. Brandon, 8th grade. He was funny and athletic. His PE locker was next to mine. Matthew, 9th to 10th grade. Sweet, kind, and athletic. We had some classes together and I enjoyed talking to him. Julian, the rest of high school. He wasn't an athlete. I finally beat the cycle. He was nerdy, kind, and smart. Then there's Darren. He's sitting down, a book resting on his crossed legs. His smile is peaceful. Something's different, though. The rest of the statues had been pristine, their colors filled with life, but Darren's is dirty. All of his colors are muted, fighting against a layer of grime. Webs hang across different points. A duster, towel, and what looks like some cleaning solution lies on the base, and I pick them up. I work silently, first dusting off everything as best as I can. The cleaning process, like everything else, is a little off. The dust doesn't cloud and choke me, it kind of just ceases to exist. Slowly but surely, the color's returning. Is he your little secret? I turn to find Takira making her way through the garden and over to me. She looks around. When she gets to me, she looks Darren over. He's handsome. Is your being here some ancient reality bender bowl? Yeah, pretty much. She looks down at the towel next to another bottle of cleaning solution. Would you like some help? I consider her offer for a moment. Yes, I think I'd like that. She picks up the equipment and begins helping. What's his story? It begins in college. At least that's where I come in. He was the cute marine biologist. I was the even cuter journalist. Takira laughs to herself a little. A classic. We fell in love. Then we graduated. Then we got married. We moved into his parents' old house and occasionally stayed in an Airbnb on the lake. For so long, he was the source of so much joy, and I know this sounds cheesy, but when we were together, it's like we just became love. I don't know why I'm thinking about this right now, but when he was reading, he would always be playing with one of the pages in between his fingers. It was kind of annoying. One day, the sky blinked. He was lost to me. At first, he was just stuck, so I watched over him. But then he changed. I would always see him after that. He was usually a few blocks away, just watching me in the daytime. At night, he would come closer to our house. There were only 2 times I've seen him behave violently. That night he attacked us, and one time long before when I decided to explore the wrong place and found myself in territory of something hostile. He saved my life. Although for him, it was probably more like protecting something he felt belonged to him. That is, if there was even that level of consciousness after the change. For all I know, he could have been acting on nothing but pure instinct. Anyway, the only other part of the story you're missing is that I killed him. I drove a sword through his heart. I gave him peace. Something I should have done a long time ago. We step back from the statue, and it's pristine. The color is vibrant now, and I can almost convince myself that he's actually sitting there. I think I'll miss being irritated by that rustling paper. I'm glad you're holding on to that, Takira says. Excitement creeps into her voice. But I'm also glad you're making space for something new. I look over and Takira's gesturing at an obviously newer statue. It looks like it's still in progress, and the colors are faint, but I recognize him immediately. Team Eric for life. Is that still a thing? I thought it died with the Hunger Games. I don't know, but I'm still Team Eric. I'm aware there are literally no other options, but he has a nice smile, so I'm all in. I smile to myself. He does. We just observe the statue for a moment. Then we leave it behind, strolling aimlessly through the garden. So what's going on up there? I ask. They're just talking. I don't believe it's a very efficient conversation, for this is the first time they've ever done so, and Beyonce's feeling for the first time, but it's a conversation nonetheless. I'm sorry, Beyonce? That's the name Jefferson gave him? He liked the sound of it. I'm sure Beyonce is choosing a new name for himself, though. I nod. How long are you all staying? I think we're leaving as soon as they sort out the logistics. Logistics? Fixing everything as best as possible, and then finding a host. And then you're back off into the infinite void? Yep, until we find their sister. Just how many of them are there? Nostrifedges? As far as Jefferson knows, she's the last one missing. But I don't even want to begin to imagine just how unlikely that is. Even Jefferson knows very little about how everything works. That's pretty comforting, actually. How little we know? How little it all matters. It takes away some of the pressure. If you say so. Before we lose the chance, I just want to tell you how much of a pleasure it was meeting you. Aw, it was great meeting you too. When's the last time you've had a drink? I bring us to a stop. Way too long ago. I'm so down for a fake one right now. How do I do that exactly? Just think of a path to it or something. I don't know. You probably need to leave your little corny garden thing. Corny? It isn't like this for everyone? Absolutely not. All this hedges and garden stuff is you. My mind looks like the metaverse. What's that? Oh, you guys don't have that here? Lucky. We've made it back to the central hub, and sure enough, there's a new path on the other side of the rose garden. The path ends almost immediately at a door. I open it and we step right into a cozy bar. Soft music plays. People walk back and forth, but I can't get a good look at any of their faces. Their conversation never rises above a low murmur. We shut up the bar. New customers. How can I help you? A bartender asks. Can I get a Jupiter? Takira asks. And a Tom Collins for me, please. You got it. The bartender grabs one of those shaker things that I seriously need to learn the name of and shakes it. He grabs 2 cups and pours our drinks. He pours from the same container, but sure enough, 2 separate drinks come out. He slides them across to us. Enjoy. Takira takes a sip. And this tastes like a Tom Collins. I was wondering how that was going to work. I've never had a Jupiter before. I've only seen pictures. You really need to expand your horizons. What even is it? Passion fruit syrup, some lemon, falernum, orgeat, and gin. She takes another sip. Oh, that's a slightly better attempt. Part of me just wants to explore all of this forever. You're not excited about things being reverted? I am. I know it's not going to be easy, but I am looking forward to the world becoming recognizable again. It's just that all of this is, well, all of this. All of this is you. You can come here whenever you want, but I will advise to not leave reality behind. There are beautiful things there too. I watch as Takira takes another sip from her cup. She laughs to herself a little. It's just about the lightest laugh, barely more than a hard exhale. When are you going to give all this Jefferson business up? I ask. I really don't know. If I'm being honest, I don't even know how long I've already been at it. I'm sure at some point I'll get tired and elect to either live the rest of my days out on some random earth or just die. Fun fact, Jefferson doesn't know anything about death either. He doesn't even know if he could experience it if he wanted to. I nod. I take another sip from my drink and things go silent between us for a moment. Do you think we would have been friends if we had just met at college or something? Takira asks. Yeah, I don't see why not. I like to think so too. Something looks off on the other side of the bar. There seems to be a haze covering the wall of liquor. Takira notices it too. She gives a sad smile and finishes her drink. The haze grows stronger and stronger, and soon everything around me becomes hazy. Then I'm back on the plateau. Jefferson stands across from me. He nods to me.
Thank you.
No problem. How'd everything go with Beyonce?
Zeus. His name is Zeus.
That's a little on the nose.
That's something we agree on. But, Jeremiah, there's something I feel the need to make you aware of. Well, in your body, Zeus was inspired by some things he would have a natural bias towards.
You're being vague.
He needed a host, and there was someone you desired that influenced him.
I still don't understand what he's talking about. Jeremiah? The voice. The care with which he said my name. It's so obvious to me now. What else could he mean by a natural desire I had? I look at him. Darren? Is that really you? He looks exactly as he did before everything changed. Beautiful. Wow. You look... How long has it been? He asks. Quite a long time. He looks me over. Is that a sword? Yeah. One of our neighbors had it hanging up on a wall. Well, it suits you, he says, smiling at me. It's so good to see you doing well. While I was that thing, everything just kind of blurred and twisted, and I remember desperately wanting to protect you, but I think it all got messed up somehow. I didn't hurt you, did I? A tear sliced on my cheek. No, you didn't. That's good. Are you happy? I am, I say. It isn't until now I even register that I haven't moved towards him at all. I changed that. When up close to him, it hits even harder how much I missed him. I didn't think I'd ever get to see your face again, I say. I wouldn't get too attached, he mutters. I figured you would have to go, but it is a choice you're making, right? As much of a choice as choosing between dying or exploring the cosmos can be. That doesn't make me feel very comfortable with this. I don't even know if I'm comfortable with this, he says. He grabs my hand. But I don't want you to worry about me, okay? You did the one thing I asked you to do, which I thank you for. And above all, you're alive, right here in front of me, which is more than I could have ever hoped for. I want you to keep on for me, okay? You were with someone, right? Or was that something that got mixed around? No, you're right, I say. His name's Eric. Eric. Good. Does Eric treat you right? I shrug. I haven't given him the chance to. Well, do so. I nod. As long as you promise to study as many alien fish as you possibly can. I didn't even think about all the alien fish. One sentence and you've made me 100 times more comfortable with this. He glides his hand up from mine and gives my shoulder a squeeze. With a smile meant to hide the sorrow, he pulls me into a hug. We savor the embrace. I love you, he whispers to me. I love you too. After much too short a time, we pull apart. I'll always love you, Jeremiah. Jakira walks over to join Darren. She smiles at me. I smile back. When I look back to Darren, a stranger is looking back at me. I give Zeus a respectful nod. He returns the gesture. This is it. All the pleasantries are out of the way. I step back. And they float. As they make their way into the sky, we share one last wave. Then they turn to the sky, and I look out from over the plateau, down to the village. There's a sound as if something just broke the sound barrier, but instead it signifies change. Before my eyes, the trees begin to gain color. The sky becomes more vibrant than it's ever been. The sounds of nature return. The sounds that I knew from long before. Their chorus fills me with the warmth. There's a new energy coursing through everything that I simply can't explain. All I know is that it reminds me so much of hope. The end. Oh my goodness. This was my second time recording this chapter. That's why okay, like just now I recorded this like the first time like a week or 2 or 3 ago, and then put it into Adobe Audition. Turns out I had the mic too sensitive, so it was just constantly peaking, right? And also, it was so sensitive, you could hear my heartbeat throughout the entire recording, and that was annoying, and that was like very disheartening. Yeah, no, that took me out for like a week or 2. I was just not feeling it, and then just this week, not this week, but today, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to finish recording so I can finish editing, so I can post it, so I can just be done with this, so I can start planning the next one. Hopefully, the next one. Short film? Stop. Oh my gosh. But also, short film? It would be cool. Oh my gosh. But who would be the crew? I would either have to talk to strangers or get my coworkers to participate. I don't know. Who knows? But I don't know. A short film would be dope. That'll be fun. Yes. At some point, I will edit all the chapters together into just one long stream. Probably will procrastinate on that until Christmas. Not Christmas. Halloween. But okay. Yeah. No, thank you for listening. If you're here, that means you listened to 7 chapters of just poorly done sound effects. Just me trying to get a story together and always thinking of something new to then try to weave through the rest of the chapters that just was not present in the chapters before. But you know what? It was fun. This is my fun little writing exercise I now like to do every year. But yeah, thank you. Love you. Bye.